Steelers fans, the more that I think about the Steelers quarterback situation and who I think is going to be the Steelers starting quarterback next year, I think the more that I think about this, I think Aaron Rodgers' chances of being the next Steelers starting quarterback get higher and higher and higher the more that I discover about this potential connection. So today we're going to be breaking down the reasons why I think Aaron Rodgers might be the most likely option for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be their starting quarterback next year, whether we as fans want that or not. But get us going down there in the comments section and let me know. One-word reaction if the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers. Let me know what you guys would react to this signing with down there in the comments section. So before I start here, I want to make sure I'm acknowledging this because I completely understand the people out there that do not want Aaron Rodgers. And, me coming out with this video saying that Rodgers might have the best chance of getting signed to be this team's starting quarterback, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want him or that he's my number one option to be the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, I completely understand the reasons why people are very much against Aaron Rodgers. All right, here are some of the negatives involved with bringing in Rodgers to be the next starting quarterback. All right, would he really be a culture fit? Mike Tomlin is very much a we kind of culture type of guy, and, the reputation from Rodgers around the league is that he's a little bit of a me guy. He's a little prickly. He doesn't get along with people the best. Even though you listen to guys like Davante Adams, Randall Cobb, some of the people he's been with throughout his career, they absolutely love him as a teammate. I do think it's fair to wonder if he is a culture fit here in Mike Tomlin in that locker room. The second thing is that Rodgers' decreased athleticism, just like Russell Wilson, forces him to win within structure. So he can't be the running around gunslinger type of guy he used to be there in Green Bay. He has to be more of an in-structure playmaker, kind of similar to how Tom Brady was at the end of his career, where he wins from the pocket, he gets the ball out fast, and he uses his pre-snap and post-snap processing to get the ball to the right receiver and get into the right play. Another negative involved with Rodgers is that he has a hard time developing chemistry with new receivers. We saw that a little bit with the New York Jets this past year. His offense is so based on communication and chemistry and all these different things. So you have to work with him a little while usually to develop some chemistry with him. And of course, if he comes to Pittsburgh, it'd be his first year working with guys like George Pickens, Roman Wilson, of course, Calvin Austin III. And even if he brings in Davante Adams, which would be a plus, he'd really be the only guy in this offense, receiver-wise, that he would have that chemistry with. And then the final negative here is that he would leave Pittsburgh with no long-term plan at quarterback. Aaron's going to be 42 next year, all right? And he might be here for 2 years, and that's it. And then the Steelers are back to square one looking for a quarterback of the future. So when people say, I don't want old Aaron Rodgers anymore, especially after the season the Jets had last year, I completely get it, all right? But with that being said, I can still see this happening. And there's a bunch of different reasons why I think that the rumors of Rodgers to the Steelers are legit. I think it all starts with Mike Tomlin. And I think that Tomlin could be the key to landing Rodgers here in the Steel City because Tomlin and Rodgers have a mutual respect that goes back many, many years, and it's well documented. So we can just take a look at a couple of quotes here. This is what Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show a few years back. I am a big Mike Tomlin fan. I have been for a long time. I like the way he speaks about his team. I like the way he goes about his business. I like his confidence. I've heard nothing but good things from the people who have played there. I like Mike Tomlin. And then it seems to be kind of shared, mutual respect here because Mike Tomlin said this just last year in an interview with NBC Sports. It's exciting for me to compete against quote-unquote elite players. So he thinks Aaron is still an elite player. Just the competitive component of this game, to do it at the level he's done it at for so long, it's an honor to compete against men like that. So it certainly sounds like Tomlin and Rodgers, or that Tomlin thinks that Rodgers can still play. Tomlin clearly still holds Rodgers in high regard as a football player, and at the end of the day, he kind of calls the shots. He is the head coach. He is the longest tenured head coach in the NFL right now. And he has a lot of say in who the quarterback is going to be heading into 2025. So if Tomlin likes Rodgers, that automatically increases Rodgers' chances of coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And also, just from a stylistic standpoint, Rodgers does a lot of things well that are important to Mike Tomlin. First, we can take a look at the playoff experience. 22 career playoff games for Aaron Rodgers, a ton of experience on that big stage. Plus, he has that Super Bowl win early on in his career. Hasn't been able to get back to the Super Bowl since that early Super Bowl win, though, so keep that in mind. But he has 34 game-winning drives throughout his career, which is 17th all-time in NFL history. So, he's certainly capable of delivering a game-winning drive when it's needed. And then the turnover-worthy play percentage last year in terms of turning the football over, Rodgers is still very good at protecting the ball. 1.8% turnover-worthy play percentage last year, ranked 6th in the National Football League. And then he actually is tied for the lowest interception percentage in NFL history at just 1.4% of his passes getting picked off. The other quarterback that shares that record is one Jacoby Brissett, by the way. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What is the percent chance that Rodgers is a Steeler next year? All right, and I want you to take emotion out of it here. In terms of the likelihood that Aaron Rodgers signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers, what do you think is the odds? From 0 to 100, 0 meaning no chance he is a Pittsburgh Steeler next year, to 100 meaning he's definitely going to be a Steeler. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Fanatics. And while I'm talking about Fanatics, let me know what you think Rodgers' chances of being a Steeler are in 2025. And with that, let's have word from our sponsor here at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/throwback to get this awesome Steelers throwback t-shirt in your closet today. Personally, guys, you guys can see it with my t-shirt today. I don't like really bold designs. I like to keep things simple in terms of the things that I wear here at the office at Chat Sports. But when I go to Latrobe, man, there's nothing wrong with a little graphic tee with a nice, clean, simple throwback logo on a black t-shirt. I think that is a really, really good look for anybody that wants to rock a Steelers shirt anywhere in public, especially at training camp coming up here in August. So go to chatsports.com/throwback if you haven't already. Get this t-shirt in your closet today. And by the way, when you use our link, chatsports.com/throwback, and you make a purchase, Fanatics sends us part of the proceeds. So it helps us out here at Steelers Talk. It helps us buy new equipment to improve our graphics, all the stuff that we do here at Chat Sports to give you guys the best damn Steelers content anywhere on this platform. So if you guys want to help us out today, go chatsports.com/throwback and go get your shirt today. Another thing that I think increases the chances of the Steelers acquiring Aaron Rodgers this offseason is the Pat McAfee influence. Now, if you guys didn't know, McAfee, it comes from the suburbs of Pennsylvania, of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in particular. He is very much ingrained in Yinzer culture. And even though he played his professional career with the Indianapolis Colts, and obviously he's very close with the Colts, he also has a soft spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They talk about the Steelers a ton on that show. If you've ever watched it, of course, they got Tone Diggs on there. They're the classic Steelers fan in there. And I think that, Rodgers comes on that show about once a month, and I think that McAfee and crew are going to be pushing him a little bit in the direction of the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if they haven't signed Justin Fields at that point. And, it's certainly possible that McAfee tries to get Rodgers to go play for his former team there with Shane Steichen and the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have said that they're going to be looking for competition for Anthony Richardson coming up in 2025. But honestly, I think that they're going to be looking for more of like an Andy Dalton, a Jacoby Brissett maybe to kind of compete with Richardson, maybe bring back Gardner Minshew. I think that Rodgers, probably the more likely destination for him would be Pittsburgh. Third thing that I think, increases Rodgers' chances of becoming a Steeler is that he wouldn't be too pricey. All right. Whenever I bring up Matthew Stafford on the show, people tell me he's going to be too expensive. And it's like, all right, fair enough. But Aaron Rodgers, it might cost around the same as Justin Fields. Like he might be signed for like a $15 to $20 million contract. And depending on Fields' market, that might be around the range that Fields goes for. So, in terms of the cap hit that the Steelers are going to have to take on at quarterback, there really isn't that much difference between Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields in terms of the cap hit solely. But that's certainly something to keep in mind here is that the Steelers could get him, and they're not really spending a whole lot of money against the cap to bring him in. Then we get to another reason here, which is that I do think he'd be an upgrade. All right. Now, is he my number one quarterback option for the Steelers this year? No, all right, but when I watch Rodgers on film, and I have watched his entire season on film in preparation for giving my proper take on him, I think that he got a lot better as the season went on when Davante Adams was there, and I think that offense structured by Nathaniel Hackett, their OC, was terrible. And now Aaron Rodgers had his hand in that, and I think that he's going to have to come to a team where, gives him a little bit of structure, and he's not going to be allowed to completely run the show. But I still think that he has some nice arm talent. I think he does have some accuracy still. I still think he protects the football well, and he gets the football out quickly. And honestly, guys, he has a lot of the same positive qualities that Russell Wilson brings to the table, only I think that he actually builds on them. So here are some of the similarities here between Russ and Rodgers. Obviously, they're both aging, all right? They're both older quarterbacks that have reduced athleticism. They're not the playmakers they used to be. They're both really, really good pre-snap processors. They both have legit arm talent, throwing the ball down the field still. They can still deliver passes in pass-heavy moments, like 3rd and long, 2-minute drill, etc. And then, I think that both of these guys prefer to avoid the middle of the field because you're more likely to throw interceptions over there. So Rodgers doesn't like to throw over the middle as much because he wants to avoid interceptions. And I think where these two guys, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, are at in their career is that they need to be more of like a Tom Brady type of quarterback where they stick in the pocket, they don't really leave it, they get the ball out quickly, they use their pre- and post-snap processing to get the ball out quickly. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is better equipped to play that style of quarterback. All right, Russell Wilson is too short to even progress past his first read from within the pocket. At least Rodgers has the size and the ability to throw over the middle of the field when he wants to be able to play that style of offense. All right, like Rodgers is still more than capable of doing that, can still throw with great touch, great arm talent. He still possesses all those qualities. But unlike Russ, Rodgers can actually see over the middle of the field. So implementing Rodgers in this offense gives you all the positive aspects of Russ, but also builds upon them with something that Russ simply cannot do at this point in his NFL journey. And then when it comes to Justin Fields, I can certainly respect the take that Fields is going to be a better quarterback than Rodgers. And you think if Rodgers is just on the decline and he's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse, I certainly understand the take that you would want Justin Fields, who might be on the up and up, over Aaron Rodgers. But I think that Rodgers is by far the better mental processor. I think their average time to throws illustrate that. I think Rodgers was in the top 10 last year, and then Fields was like in the bottom 3. So Rodgers gets the ball out a lot faster. I think that he would be a better game manager than Justin Fields could be, at least based on what we saw from Fields in the 2024 tape. Then the final thing that I want to talk about here is that the Davante Adams perk does come with Aaron Rodgers. All right, we know Davante loves to play with Aaron Rodgers. All right, and that should tell you everything you really need to know about Rodgers as a teammate and how much his guys really feel loyalty to him. But, I think that Adams is still a legit number 1 receiver in this league. He's still a legit route runner. He played really, really well down the stretch with Rodgers throwing him the football there in New York. And because the Jets were out of the playoffs, nobody really watched the Jets play. But especially that Jacksonville game towards the end of the season, Davante Adams was lighting people up. And, this could be a legitimate connection if the Steelers do bring in Aaron Rodgers for the 2025 season. And then I think another added benefit to getting Davante Adams here is that I think that George Pickens would be allowed to not have to be the leader in that room. And I think that we all agree he's had some kind of behavior and personality, certain stuff over the last several seasons. Davante, who's the consummate pro, would become the new leader in the wide receiver room. And George, as we know, Pickens has made comments about Davante. These guys have a ton of mutual respect for each other. I think Pickens would love, love, love to play with Davante Adams here in Pittsburgh. So not only do you get Davante Adams, but George Pickens likely wants to stay here in Pittsburgh in 2025. So in conclusion here, Rodgers is not my top choice for quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers for next season. He's not. All right, and I certainly understand the reasons why people do not and are vehemently against the Steelers going out and getting him. Even guys like Deshaun Elliott, who is on the freaking team, went out and said that they don't want Aaron Rodgers. But respectfully to Deshaun and respectfully to all the Steelers fans out there that don't want Rodgers, Mike Tomlin's in the head coaching chair and Omar Khan's in the GM chair, and those guys are going to make the decision. All right, so I am open-minded to Rodgers becoming a Steeler. I think that there are certain perks. The Davante Adams thing, I think that he could, if he adjusts to his game to Arthur Smith's system, I think he could still operate this style of offense at a high level. I think that he didn't play nearly as bad, especially down the stretch last year, as some people want to say that he played. And I still think he's somewhere between like the 12th and the 16th best quarterback in football. He's not a superstar anymore, but the Steelers don't need that, especially if they can fix their run game. I'm not saying Rodgers is my top choice, but I think that I'm at least open-minded to the possibility. So let me know down there in the comments section. If you made it to the end of today's show, type real one in all caps. If you made it to the end of today's video, really do appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got more Steelers QB content coming your way throughout the 2025 offseason. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.